I often wonder what I'm doing with the railway, what motivations I have for the next thing that I'm doing, and generally over time I've developed the choice making based on what do I find interesting today. You know, am I just making a video or am I doing something that I really want to do? What I want to do for the next video is build up this engine shed to go on the layout. My name's Tris and this is Double A Nail. You've probably seen on my other videos the new section that I'm working on, and the new section is interesting for me anyway. It's a goods area, and combined with that we're going to have an engine shed, and this is going to be a long engine shed. I've got a book which shows a 40 centimetre long kind of engine shed. Well, scaled up, it's a lot longer than that, but what would end up being two of these stuck together. That's my plan. I, on the last episode, built up a good shed by L-Cut. It's a card material, as far as I understand. These will be the same. And so there is a few little bits about it that makes it a bit more tricky. And the only reason I say that is kind of delaminating some of the layers when you're putting it together. So it's just being a bit more careful when you work on it compared to the wood. Though these cuts and everything on it are very delicate, very nice, and I do appreciate what I've got here. And I've learned a few things from when I worked on the good shed. This is the book that I've enjoyed. The more I've got into this hobby, the more that I've had to look for reference material to understand the ways things would be back then. Yes, it's my model railway and I can do things the way I like, but I think to keep motivations going down the right route, sometimes using reference pictures gives you a thought to, I want a lamppost here, I want to put some ash pits here, so there's fantastic pictures in these books. And do you know what, you could go to so many heritage lines and you can buy books like this for sometimes £2-3. This one, I don't know how much I paid. There's only the original price in here, which was £25 for this book, but this book is fantastic. When you look through it, you get some fantastically old pictures in here. As you go through, you can just get inspired by the scenes that were there back then, and they explain bits down the bottom. So this is something that I honestly would recommend to you, is something to invest your time into if you do go to a heritage line, or look on eBay, Amazon, any place to look for books and fetch them, because what you'll find is you get a lot of information here. If you want to and you enjoy reading, you can spend a wonderful amount of time reading these bits. For me, I'm a picture guy. Every time I get to a nice picture, what is that? Have a little look at it. And sometimes I get a bit of paper and I'll stuff it in the corner for another day when I come back. If I'm working on a loco, I can come back and I can have a little look and make it as it was, wondering, well, did it have a pipe there? What am I missing? Do I need to take something off the model that I've got or add something onto it? So what we'll do is we'll go to the page that I wanted to go to, which isn't this one. Now this is the book that I was talking about. Both fantastic books. This one talks about Great Western engine sheds from 1837 to 1947. and here it is. So this represents a length of engine shed that I can kind of base it off. Obviously mine doesn't look like this one. If I really wanted to, I could spend some time and do the work and change windows and add the chimneys in the way that it is here. So you can see that. Do I need to? I don't know, don't think so. But I can take things from this. You've got a toilet, which is WC just then, from the view there. And then you've got the engine men, I guess they hang out inside here, ready for action. So that's something that I want to base mine from. As you can see, I've got my tag in here. Found it very quickly. So yes, we will build ours based on kind of these proportions, and if we want to, we can add something later. On here it shows a kind of stone side here, so I could actually enjoy the ability to just get some of my wheel sheets and build up the stone side, put a door on it and do that. But we can maybe do that a bit later on. My view is to get the whole lot together. So we've got the 2 lengths of that, and with the 2 lengths of that we'll have that, and we can put it on the layout and see how things look. Opening up, I guess this is our bill of materials, tells us what's inside. There's a few things inside here, as well as instructions, just like the last one that I built. We'll put that to the side when we get out all our parts and have a look at them. They've all got part numbers on, which is great. So when you're working on it, it says here, you've got LCC 0449. So you can't really mess that up. You know, you're going to have the right bits for that. So we just group up everything that's going to be in a group. We've got our doors, same doors that we had kind of last time for the good shed. This time I'll be using the airbrush to paint these, and hopefully we'll do a better job. So I'll pop them aside here. Got the roof tops, the V that goes over that joins up the 2 sets of bits of the roof. But what I will say is it looks like we will be able to make this the length that we want. The way that these are sitting at the moment, I can just keep going and going and going and going to get the length that is required. So that's good. These slot together really nicely as well. I was a little bit worried. I think I was just a bit unlucky with the good shed when I had it before, the way that it's slotted together, whereas these seem really, really nice. So yeah, we'll soon find out when we're working on it. And yeah, looking forward to painting it up, because the good shed painted up really nicely. Like I said, apart from the doors that kind of went wrong, the brickwork painted out really well on the good shed. Just before we put everything together, just want to show you, I've got all the sides together. It looks like a deck of cards. Then all the individual bits, so you have the little side bits that kind of help connect up the corners and things. I'm not too familiar with what they do yet, but I've coupled them together. Like I said before, they have got their little part numbers on them. I say little just because it's small writing. And yeah, so it's quite, I think, important that you get yourself organised when you're doing a slightly bigger build and you're kind of morphing it into something else. A lot of the parts are ready to go. To a certain extent. You've got the tag just here. We're going to be cutting all of these off as we go as well, so just remember to follow the instructions. The instructions here actually don't talk about where certain things go. You get an idea here of it, so I think fine, we can utilize that and do the best. It's not kind of like an IKEA instruction set that shows how things go together, but it gives you a good idea of actually this is how it's going to be. to this stage and it's gone together pretty nicely. The way the bits slot together this way is always fine. I had no issues there, but actually when you try and put the two pieces like this together, it's not straightforward. Like this one actually, you know, that slots together okay, but once you actually start building these up, it's not as easy as that all the time. Some bits slot together quite nicely, some bits are they're not as fun, but we got to that point that it's together now. I've actually built bits of it wrong, and I've had to rectify by chopping some bits about, because the instructions don't quite show where and why you should start with. You got some that run across the top with 3 here and then 2 down there, and that makes sense. But you have to make sure you do that, and actually you get so close-minded when you're building these that right, do that one, and then right, do that one, and then you put this bit on, and then you wonder why the brick pattern doesn't line up. So then you have to mess around, and if you want to peel it off, don't even try. In the instructions, it shows them on there, which is great, and actually if you study the picture you can see, okay, yep, it's like that. But really, I don't know, if I was doing it, I would encourage that there's a bit more information explaining why, or just what, you know, this one with the 2 pointing this way, but maybe that's something they'll do eventually. Maybe if they've watched this video, they might tweak the instructions slightly to help me. Obviously I've gone for double length, which introduced my own issues of the availability of these lengths because of the way it was meant to finish off, but it's worked out right. I only had to modify one and kind of make my own thing. Had a bit of a battle on this corner on there, but I'll fix that with some paint, and then you get delaminations and whatever. I spoke to one of my friends, Dan Everton. He said about maybe I could seal the surfaces before I then actually assemble them, obviously with some lacquer. My only fear is losing detail every time I put lacquer on, but yeah, maybe I should try that when I do another one sometime. But yeah, so you get a bit disheartened when that happens, but I think when I put my paint on, and I do my brick pattern and everything in the way that Dan showed me how to do it, it'd be good. What you'll see here is I've capped off the end. I didn't want it to come all the way through, I want it to finish up behind, so I went down the easy route of getting some of my Slater's plastic card, cut it to size and stick it on. And what I did, because this is quite floppy, this whole structure, you know, it's not rigid, and when you're working on it you can damage bits, so I put an extra beam. You can see in here I've actually got twin beams going under there, and they just go across there just to help out a little bit, to help with that compression. I don't want to damage this when I'm holding it, but when you handle it you don't always mean to, but you can damage the models that you work with. So I'm at the point now that I could paint it black, and then later I can stick on the roof. I like the idea of being able to take the roof off. Main reason is so I can see what's inside, if there's a problem, and also it kind of looks cool, that top view. So you've got this cool structure on the top, and what I want to do is actually add the last 2 in here before I continue. And with that, like I said, paint it black, and that'll be that. Once everything's been painted in its brick and mortar is being put in, my plan was to add the windows, so I'll paint the windows separately, and I'll maybe even glaze them as well, and then I can stick them on to this you know, painted building, so I don't have to then touch these up with the right colour if I've got all the brick colours all over them. So I think it's wise to not put these on straight away. And then after that I'll have one pair of doors, and like we talked about last time, and I'll do what Dan suggested, is I'll lacquer them first, then I'll paint them and see how nicely they come up. And I've got a bit of hope for them, and I've got a few sets here, because this was meant to have one each end. Let's drop one down there, so it means I can experiment and do a better job this time. Yeah, then we'll build up the roof. So yeah, well, I'll come back to you when I'm at a good point to continue. I think what we'll do is get the last 2 bits in here, spray it black, and then we'll start painting it in our brick colour. So I've glued the roof on. We've painted up all the sides. I think it looks nice. This side actually you won't see. This will have the area that will be, that you can't see from the layout. You'll be looking from this side. So we'll be looking at this side, which I'm not sure if I like how I painted it, but I think once I painted the roof, put the windows in, it's on the layout, it will look alright. The roof is pretty simple. It's just got these card bits. I've kind of slotted them all together, used both pieces, worked out really nice. I just sliced a little bit off the end, not too much, just this little slither here, sliced it off and it was good. I just need to add these kind of centre bits that pleat over. We'll stick them down, and then I can then paint it grey and make it look really, really good. Well, hopefully, I'll try and make it look good, but I'm looking forward to that. And then once I've painted that, we'll get on to this stage of adding the bits where the fumes can escape. In between the stage where I left you, where I've got to now, I've added on this top. I haven't glued it on yet, I will do. Been painting the top, not too happy with how it's looking so far, but I need to put a wash on it and hopefully bring out some colour there. The window arches I've painted in the light stone. I really like the look of this. I think it kind of brings out the building and kind of defines that it is Great Western Railway. The other bit is we've put some gutters on, and these are by Will's sheets, that were not sheets, or Will's kits, sorry. There's a little kit here. And it comes with a few options. So we've got the gutter that sticks on the side and then a drain that drops down here, so then it can complete the building a bit more. I'm going to paint these a dark stone colour to finish them off nicely. So I'm happy with that. I have started putting a coat on this side. You can see there, I've got that darker colour there. You're not going to spot these so much, but it's a detail that I think that people will notice. The other thing is you've got the doors here. Bit of muck on this one. Yeah, I've got the doors here. I painted them with the airbrush to begin with, and then I came in with a normal brush, so to speak, and then put the dark stone where needed on this. So I did that on both sides, and it came out a lot nicer than when I did my good shed, which was on the previous update video. So yeah, the airbrush put a very nice coat on here, so I'm happy. So these will be fitted, but right at the end, because they will get knocked around. Like I said on this, we need to paint the gutters and drain pipe, the dark stone. After that, I want to put the acetal sheet on the inside of the windows, just to give it some more realism. And then that will kind of be getting close to this being finished. I've thought about what I want to do about this. Do I want to weather any of this? I'm not sure about this, because you know, you'd have the smoke coming out of here, so I might dirty it up with the airbrush a little bit. and I'm also wondering if the light stone was the wrong colour for here. Maybe the light stone was the correct colour for the ends, maybe. And then the sides I should just paint brown or just make dirty, not sure yet. I can have a play. The other thing which people have mentioned that I've noticed as well in the book, like I talked about at the beginning, is to have a small engine room, maybe over 2 of these windows. We could have a building edge coming off. What I want to do is get up on the layout and look at what I'm working with on the track, what gaps I can create, because I don't want to put something on that then stops the layout working, because the engine room could be on the other side that you don't see. So there's also an argument for that anyway. Yeah, let me know in the comments below actually what you think of this top piece. I've been looking at pictures and generally these can just look dirty, and I'm thinking I might just paint this brown, get it more in view. Yeah, just might paint the whole thing brown, and like I said, leave the ends in the light stone colour. But either way, we'll do a little bit of painting on these, get these done, get the doors on, and then we can get up onto the layout. I want to assemble this one here, and it's silly me, I'd stuck all this down so then this didn't sit flat, so I've taken some off where I need to. Took a bit too much off at the back actually, I need to add some paint. Once we put this on, I'll probably do a wash on here to blend this all in and make it look nice. I've actually painted the edge of this and in the dark stone, and on the ends is in light stone. I think it looks better. You know, we can always change it later on if we want to. So yeah, just use some PVA glue as I have done with all the other bits and touch on. Try not to get any so it spills over, but ultimately it'll be alright. Get the main V's as I do it, and then a little bit on the bottom edges, but we don't want it to spew over and cause us kind of some ghastly kind of look. But yeah, we should be fine on that one. So yeah, we'll stick this on, and then this will be pretty much coming to a wrap in regards to finishing this building. The building, yes, we can do more on it. Just hold on to this. The building itself isn't completely finished. I'll come back, I think, and do the work on the putting the side building on. I think that's a project for another day to add the building on, because I haven't decided what I want and I don't want to rush it just for the sake of the video. So my main thing is to stick this down, and we can, you know, focus a bit more on things that are up in the loft, and we can, you know, this is a great representation of what we're working with. If we want to later on, we can make another engine shed and, you know, replace this if we want, but ultimately this is going to be what we want. The nice thing about working with the card, I will say that actually when we glue things with the card seems to absorb the glue really well. If you have bits like here where you have the glue sticking out, just get your knife edge, just come in here and you can just tuck away what you don't need and just tuck it in there, and you can neaten it up and it will look nicer. Any bits that spew out will show later. They will dry clear, but you'll probably notice it as a modeler, or you might not, and good for you if you don't notice that. Obviously it's not always the prettiest, so what you can do is you can get a bit of tissue, you can dampen it down with a bit of spit, and you can just come in and just touch it up like that, and then that little bit in there, that will dry off and it will look nice. So I just put some nice pressure on here. Once that's dry, like I said, we'll put a wash on. I'll put the doors on the front, and then we'll go put it up in the loft, and we can enjoy the look of it on the layout. That will drop just here, and it will do the job. The head shunt goes up behind it, this side, and then we'll have our point that comes around the side of it. So really this will be sitting more back here. So you've got the track comes in there, a little bit of room for the logo to kind of stick out, and then the track will kind of just come off here, something like that anyway. That'd be good. But no, really pleased with it. I think it'll blend in nicely with the layout. I think it looks good. Let me know if you've built one of these Elkhart kits before, what you thought of them. How did they come out? Are you happy with them? So that's a wrap for this episode. I just want to say a big thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed yourself, and maybe you've even learnt something along the way. I've enjoyed doing this because it's been a project. It's not just painting up a kit from, the box. What we've done is we've got two, they've become one, and we've had to adapt along the way, figure out a few things. If I were to change anything, I'd again make this out of wood. If I could have it out of wood, be wonderful. A bit late now because I have this one, but just the way that the bricks kind of slot together could be improved a little bit, maybe even on the card ones. But apart from that, really happy with how all the details look. The windows look delicate and really pleased with it, so I can't complain. Been asked if I'm going to put lights in or anything like that. I probably won't. Maybe later stage I'll decide to, but like we discussed before, to have a engine men room maybe off the side of it would look good. That's something we could think about in the future to give it that extra kind of look to it anyway. So that's the episode. I hope you've enjoyed yourselves. Big thank you to my patrons, channel members, subscribers, everyone that leaves a comment and hits the like. Look after yourselves, happy modelling, make sure you have fun. See you next time. Bye bye.